Hello everyone, and this is my review for Monday Night Raw on July 28th, 2014. And honestly, I feel like this Monday Night Raw was actually a pretty good Raw overall. Just on certain aspects, there were a couple of them, the throwaway segments that I really didn't care for, especially the reason why they're I don't know why they're continuing on with it, but the Fandango and Summer Rae and Layla deal, it's honestly a waste of time. I don't feel like I've never liked Summer Rae in the face type character. Like when she was beginning this whole aspect against Fandango, she was by herself going after Layla. She never came off as a face in any way. She's not very good at it, at least not at this time. I feel she comes off as more of a natural heel, and it just doesn't really come off all that well on TV as well. Also, it's just a waste of time for the Fandango characters, going forward. Hopefully they'll get them off of this very soon, and this won't be like another thing that rolls on for like another 3-4 months like they've been doing with Damien Sandow. But on the aspect of Damien Sandow, at least his segments are entertaining. He's really good on the mic, and with the crap that they've been giving him, having him dress up with different characters every single week, he's delivered on his promos. Hopefully they see this and it'll eventually change his character around to where he's not doing this, he's not stuck in silly situations, fighting Adam Rose and everything on that aspect. That's another thing that's not really fully getting over in my point of view as well, is the Adam Rose character. I think his tune is catchy, but it's not getting over. I mean, you had Fandango who had had a catchy tune to his entrance, but that didn't really get over all that well. And then they have it again here with the Adam Rose character, but it's not getting over at all. So outside of that, I felt the show was a fairly good show. I love the beginning of the show with John Cena and Paul Heyman's promo. Heyman delivered a great promo, as he always does, and honestly, I felt that this promo from John Cena was a lot better than his typical one. I've always liked him in the more serious role, and taking things a little bit more seriously instead of just cracking small little kid jokes at any point in time. So this promo here, I felt really delivered, and it told a very good story going into the actual pay-per-view match with Brock Lesnar and John Cena. The subsequent match with Cesaro and John Cena was a great match, fun, entertaining, and just continues to show that Cesaro can actually speak on the mic, because his promo before the match was a really good one, and he can deliver in the ring. So hopefully they're gonna either turn him full face, or they're gonna do something different with Cesaro here in the near future. But I don't feel like they're just gonna bury him down in the undercard at any point in time. So we'll see where they actually go with Cesaro. The match with him and Cena was really good. One segment that out of the main bunches of the storylines, the one segment I didn't really care for, oddly enough, this time was Chris Jericho's segment with Triple H and Stephanie. It just felt forced. It felt like Chris Jericho's returned many times, and each time he doesn't feel like a nostalgia act coming back. This was the first time that I ever felt like Chris Jericho was out there just being a nostalgia act. Going through all his old jokes with Stephanie McMahon and everything. It felt like a very forced segment, and I guess it was what it was. It was a way to try to set up him and Seth Rollins later that night, which was a good match in that way. But I did not like the promo with him, Triple H, and Stephanie. It just felt forced, and it made him feel like he was more of a nostalgia act versus their building storyline with Bray Wyatt. Obviously, they made the match for SummerSlam, and that will be pulling forward, and of course, the beatdown after the Seth Rollins match, or to stop the match with him and Seth Rollins, was there as well. But that segment setting all up the good stuff was not really that good to begin with. The Paige and AJ storyline continued on as well. And I feel like they're doing a really good job there. I like where they're going with Paige. They're finally giving her some personality out there. Obviously, AJ's always been good on the mic. Liking how they're, and she was trying to pull off from last week's, Paige was trying to pull that as like, oh, last week was just a mishap and I'm really just friends with AJ still. And then, of course, AJ not buying it in any way. So obviously they're going to be continuing on with that storyline, and it's really, honestly, I really do enjoy their storyline as one of the Divas setups as well. They've been doing a really good job with that. The other storyline that they went with was, of course, the continuation from Brie Bella and Stephanie McMahon. Oddly enough, I did not think they would end the show with this, but they did decide to end the show with it. And the segment itself between the two of them at the end of the show it was a pretty good one. Stephanie does a really good job of getting people to hate her, which actually helps the other person in the end. The face in the end, because they get them a little bit more over with the fans and they continually react a little bit more. And you could tell the crowd was actually reacting pretty well to this segment. Of course, them setting up their match with SummerSlam as well. And honestly, it's really weird the fact that they're, producing a lot of storylines with the Divas now. You have Paige and AJ, you have Layla and Summer Rae, which I'm not really caring about, but they have another storyline there. And then you have Brie, and then, of course, Nikki Bella as well as part of it with Stephanie McMahon. So it's really interesting that they're actually spending time and investing in, putting storylines together with multiple divas in there. So it's not a bad thing. It's just a little bit weird because they usually don't spend that much time on it. Of course, we also had continuations with Rusev and Jack Swagger. They're not gonna try to just bury the Rusev character after everything that went down. Of course, the plane being shot down, it was a great tragedy and everything. But this is an entertainment company. They do base their areas off of storylines, so you got to take the aspects that Rusev and Lana are just characters. And it's good to see that they're going to continue on with that because they've been getting massive heat inside of the arenas. And again, like with Stephanie McMahon, if you can garner the massive heat, you can almost put anybody in that situation and get them over in some way, shape, or form. So that's always good to see. The only other weird thing that I found with the show, actually really the only weird thing that I found with the show was that there was no Dean Ambrose anywhere. He's trying to continue on his storyline with Seth Rollins, but they didn't really make him part of the show. Like, he could have tried to do some kind of run in there during the match with Chris Jericho. They could have actually ended the match with that and then have the Wyatt family actually try to attack him, but they decided not to use him for the show. I'm not sure what the reason was behind that, but I found it really weird that they weren't going to that they didn't have any real continuation with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose on the show. The last point that I wanted to get to was the Roman Reigns and Randy Orton storyline, which I felt took a turn for the best this week. I thought they did a really good job with this. I like having the setup with having Reigns and Kane go one-on-one, and then the backstage segment with Triple H and Orton, where Triple H is putting all the blame on why he's not getting this WWE title matches all on Roman Reigns and everything, just to get Orton more pissed off to lead into that beatdown. And man, did they really do a good job of selling the beatdown on the show. I felt they did a great job here. This is a great way of setting up their match for SummerSlam. And just overall, well, especially with the main storylines going into the pay-per-view right now, you have Wyatt and Jericho, you have Cena and Lesnar, Roman Reigns and Randy Orton, and of course Stephanie McMahon and Brie Bella in there as well. You've got some really good stuff going in there. Hopefully a decent setup with the tag team division, maybe with the Usos and Harper and Rowan. Obviously, with the new way that they're going with Kofi Kingston and Big E Langston, are they going to be a heel team? Or are they going to be a face team? Well, you've seen a different, like an attitude change from them, so we'll see where that goes down in the future, and maybe they can set up some kind of tag team title match there, and of course something with Dolph Ziggler and The Miz as well with the IC title somewhere down the line as well. So you had a lot going on, and it wasn't fully focused on certain storylines. You had the tellings of multiple storylines going on through the show, which is always a good thing to see, considering the fact that you have to build pay-per-views around multiple matches, so you don't just focus in on the one, you focus in on multiples, and I feel like they did a pretty good job this week of doing that. So yeah, that's my review for Monday Night Raw, and I thank you guys for watching.